And hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo, and in this episode we're going to do another reading from Saint Stu and his book Infinite Self. This is step 12, Your Word as Law. I've actually, back in the day, back when I was just a blog, did a number of posts about this over on Adventures in Woo Woo. It's something I find very powerful and very relevant, and something that we probably don't spend enough time thinking about. It's a simple idea. And we just get into it rather than me blabbing about it. Your word as law. Establishing your word as law is important. The mind is used to getting away with a lot of promises it never intends to keep. You tell yourself you'll do this and that, and then you don't. You promise to pay your friend on Saturday and you forget, or you deliberately duck out of your obligation. It's important to establish your word as law onto yourself and others, because that in itself becomes an affirmation of your ever-developing authority over the ego. If you say to yourself that you will do something, do it. Don't make promises you won't keep, and don't make a promise to others if you can't or won't follow through. Become immaculate. Become honourable. A life without honour is not worth having. Don't commit if you don't have to. If you aren't sure you can follow through, you can always stall others saying, I'm not sure, call me in a week. People are used to that. But making your word law, you develop power. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Most people are not used to the word as law. They're used to wimping out, sliding away as if conditions don't suit them. It weakens them, for the mind knows you're full of bull. As you start working yourself, your energy becomes faster. In my book, Miracles, I suggest that the total energy you express as a mind, body, spirit is an oscillation, one that is moving very quickly. I selected a hypothetical vibration of 20,000 cycles a second as an arbitrary figure to describe the overall oscillation of an average person in the tick-tock rhythm of life. There's no scientific way as yet to measure or quantify how fast people oscillate, so I picked a figure out of a hat. It serves only as a yardstick. I said if an ordinary person is at 20,000 cycles per second, the person who begun to work on him or herself might oscillate at, say, 25,000 cycles a second. And a person who's very evolved, who's a very strong personal life, might be 50,000 cycles. Beyond that, you might guess the energy of initiate to be 100,000 cycles a second or more. However you quantify it, you're a wave state that is oscillating through this physical experiences. As you work on yourself, your concentration moves away from the mundane and towards the infinity of the spirit within. Your total energy moves up faster and faster. Your ability to materialize things in life becomes more and more instantaneous. At 20,000 cycles a second, a person has an idea to visualize or think about something they want, and 19.5 years later, it may or may not occur. Once your energy starts going faster, any thoughts and feelings you have become reality extremely quickly. You think about the burning bush. There it is, burning in your hallway. Instant karma, positive or negative depending on your focus. You are now grasping an immense power. Any errant thoughts, and suddenly a large turd is falling on your head from a great height. So your word as law requires you understand the need to protect your power, and with that comes responsibility. Whatever you put out is what you're going to get, so be careful not to use your thoughts and feelings in a flippant way. Part of this cleaning up your act requires that you don't make promises you won't keep. Don't say to yourself, I'm going to give up chocolate, if in an hour later you sit there and munch through an entire box. If you make a discipline a law for yourself, follow through. If you don't feel confident about following through, don't make the law. When you're good and ready to give up chocolate, you will. Embrace your word as law and you'll see an immediate benefit as things begin to pop up effortlessly. But you have to mean what you say, so choose your words carefully, be purposeful, and police what you think and feel. If any crud comes into your mind, pounce on it quickly and change it. Everything is reversible. Also, don't give people loads of bullshit. Don't talk gibberish. Don't talk about yourself. Come out of silent power. Listen to others. Talk about them. Don't make idle promises, and don't agree to do things you're not going to follow through on. Become verbally disciplined. Don't show off. Don't boast. Don't exaggerate. Don't stay inside what you know is true and real. Basically, and this is me, don't lie. Stop lying. There's an entire month in the journey, which is a thing that we did on Patreon a couple of years ago, but you can still do now if you want, where we did spend an entire month not lying. It's very hard, as you can imagine. Next, get into a truthful dialogue with yourself. In other words, don't buy the bullshit the mind gives you. The mind says, yeah, we're doing fine, and you know you're not doing fine. The mind says, yeah, we're looking for a job, and you know you're not looking for a job. Yeah, we're going to handle giving up chocolate, and you know you aren't going to give up chocolate, and you've no intention of giving up. When you say to yourself, my word is law, you establish a dominance, an authority over the mind. So when you say something, you're going to follow through. Here's an exercise that will strengthen your will and help you along a bit. Pick a spot outside the garden or in a park, wherever, and find 12 stones. Tell yourself, I'm going to move these stones ceremoniously every morning at 7:01 a.m. for 7 days for 15 minutes. Then pick up the first stone, walk slowly across the garden and place it down. Bow and say to the stone, thank you. Then walk across the garden, pick up the second stone and take it over to the other side. Place it next to the first stone. Walk back and forth, taking all the stones across the garden. Now pause for a moment and pick up the first stone once more, walk back across the garden and put it back where it was originally. Transfer all 12 stones back to the side of the garden again. If this all seems like a pointless exercise, you're right, it's supposed to be pointless. The mind will ask, why are we moving 12 stones across the yard? You tell it, shh, this is a spiritual way of getting stoned. You're strengthening your will and developing a personal law. It's irrelevant if your mind likes the idea or not, or if the exercise has a point or not. The idea is to establish yourself as a lawgiver in the realm of your consciousness. You're saying, this is my law. At 7:01 a.m. every day for 7 days, I will ceremoniously move stones. This exercise has the effect of not only establishing you as a disciplined, dominant force, but it also allows you to override the discomfort the mind may go through. The mind won't like hauling stones, especially if it's raining. These actions involve work and they're outside its normal legislation. At this point, you dismiss the discomfort rather than accommodating the ego by staying in bed. Set a discipline like the stones and do it for 7 days. You need to see that your word is law. If you don't have a garden near you, you could instead move 100 books on and off the bookshelf during dusting each one as you go. Do it exactly at 7:01 a.m. or whatever time you like to decide. Do it for 7 days. In establishing the idea of my word is law, you improve your ability to materialize things you want in your life. You understand that when you come up with a thought or feeling and when you express it mentally or verbally, it's going to appear in your life. Because you're powerful, you can materialize your consciousness. The boundary between your eternal world and your internal world and the external world has melted. You have less definition. You see yourself as infinite, so the miraculous is not only possible, but expected. There's no more inside and outside. There is only one infinite consciousness that describes all reality. The ego's function is to separate you from others, defining you by creating a mental and emotional distance. As you move towards the infinite self, you're exiting the ego's world to join with an inner energy, not just your inner energy, but all of the people of the planet and cosmic energy in all things. In that joining, you will be able to pull things to you, benefits, opportunities, creative possibilities. You will pull them to you unexpectedly from a great distance. The ego, living as it does in a limited 3D world, has to get things, it has to find things. It's required to struggle to materialize things. It has to force things to happen. It needs to sell itself. Rather than forcing things to happen, see the whole of the planet being inside you, a part of you. When I say to you, stand tall, be a big person, I mean become big-hearted, expand your mind, expand your feelings to incorporate everything. If you are infinite, you are everywhere. Be everywhere, be everything. Once you are everything, and through the connection of your infinite self are connected to everything else, materializing things is easy. You're only reaching for different parts of yourself. So you'll have an idea and suddenly you're on a train with some person sitting across from you. You think, my God, he's good looking. I wanted a soulmate and here I am sitting right across a perfect candidate instantly. Perfectamundo. When you want to know how fast your energy is oscillating in life, notice the speed at which things materialize. This will tell you if your energy is speeding up or not. As you take to this discipline, be careful what you ask for and what you say. If you say to yourself, this life is a bunch of crud, plonk, the great goo-goo bird drops one from the sky in your head. If you say, this situation is a pain in the rear end, you'll soon find yourself buying hemorrhoid suppositories at the chemist. Since your word is law, never think or talk in terms of things being hard, evil, ugly or difficult. Avoid words like impossible, worrying, trouble and problem. Your problems are not problems, they are challenges. Refer to them correctly and clean up your act saying, hey, I feel great, I'm eternal, immortal, I'm universal, I'm infinite, I feel abundant. When people say, do you see the ugliness here? You reply, no, I see the hummingbird hovering over this flower. Isn't that beautiful? When people say, do you see the depravity over here? You say, no, I hear laughter and I see the chubby legs of children run across the playground. Police your thought forms and don't make promises you can't keep, especially when you're in a dialogue with yourself. Now, there's a few things I just want to say about that. this whole notion of materializing things come close from being in the perfect place and all that. While I have experiences of that, there's a kind of a caveat that goes with it, and I've talked about this in numerous places before, but it's just, don't expect just because you've worked on yourself, you become a better person, that you're very spiritual, or whatever it is, or that you've, done certain things, that once you show up, then everything is just going to work out for you. I think that's kind of a bad thought to have, because it doesn't work out like that most of the time, and it leads to frustration. When you work on yourself and you do meditation and you start doing things of your word as law, and you start trying to change your inner dialogue to have a bit more positive outlook, things do change, but it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in all occasions, and it doesn't, you can become kind of feeling a bit like that, there's an expectation of the world to do things for you. It's a bit of a privileged kind of outlook you kind of have, because I'm so spiritual, these things have to, work out. And it kind of happened to me in my art, where I kind of felt that because I had put in the effort, because I'd shown up, that the universe would just suddenly bow to me and give me everything I ever wanted. And of course it didn't, and it shouldn't. Well, maybe it should, but it didn't. And that led to an awful lot of frustration and sadness and unhappiness. But that's not to say that when you engage with things like your word is law, when you start taking your word as being very serious, and you keep your promises, and you don't say things that you don't mean, that you don't lie, that you don't exaggerate, all of these things he talks about, things certainly do change, and your word does seem to have more gravity in the world, not just with people, but certainly with people, and with, you become more trustworthy as a man of his word, a woman of his word. But in your magic, in your woo, in the sense, things do have, you carry more weight, you command more. And there's kind of a lot to be said in that kind of commanding of spirits, is that you have the authority to command them, rather than you command them in the sense of, I'll get them to do what I want by, because I'll tell them to. It's because you command them, that you have command over them, rather than you tell them what to do. Which is kind of how I see this kind of thing of your word of law stretches into. So that's another one from Stuart. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any kind of ideas of books I could read, please let me know. Of course, we have to keep the whole copyright thing in mind as well. I'm very cheekily reading Stuart Wilde's book, but there is an awful lot of it on YouTube already, so I assume it's not been hunted down, even though it is under copyright. But if you have a book, if you have a magic book that you'd like me to read, please send me it, or tell me about it. If I already have it, even better. So, good people of the internet, until tomorrow, may your best days be ahead, and may you start to see your word as having power, and that every time you lie, exaggerate, or go back in a promise, that you're diminishing yourself. So, be well.